Money FM 89.3, the best of Saturday mornings. Saturday morning sit down.
Joining us in the studio is Grant Abel, the Assistant Vice President of Life Sciences at the Singapore Oceanarium. This week, Resorts World Sentosa opened the Oceanarium. It is the leading ocean institute with the purpose of inspiring greater knowledge and love and action for the ocean and aquatic life. It had been closed for quite some time. Those of you might remember the former aquarium, SEA, that we all went to, and now this has been expanded. Many new exhibits. Neil, you were there this week. I was here. I was there at the opening as well. And Grant, it is a pleasure to welcome you to the studio today.
And thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and to be able to talk to you about the Oceanarium.
Yeah, tell us, give us the overview of what the Oceanarium is now. Many people who have gone to the former aquarium.
Yes. I think if you've been to the former aquarium and when you come back to see the new Oceanarium, you'll see an ocean of change, frankly.
I see what you did there. Hey, very clever.
Can I say that? It truly has moved the dial from its original concept when it was established, 15 years ago, I think, as an entertainment unit, as an attraction for Singapore, for Resorts World. It has truly moved the dial to become more focused on conservation, education, and research. And my role is to help coordinate all of that new work and activate the new habitats that have been created for the species, for the animals, and activate the new research and learning center that we've opened and established. That is truly a new hub for Singapore and for all of that type of work.
Well, you've reached new depths. See, he did it, so I'm doing it, right? But no, that's a serious point, Grant, because I was taken on a tour yesterday by the magnificent, it was Carl, wasn't it? Carl took us on the tour. He was brilliant. Your guides are exceptional. I have to say that straight away.
Thank you.
But I'm making a serious point. It is an educational journey, isn't it? The way you've laid it out thematically, you do literally go from the shallows to the depths of the ocean. Talk about that journey, because I think it's terrific.
Right, and it's very unique, and I think it's been crafted very well for guests, to be able to experience. So as you're walking in, your first experience is about the initial life on Earth from a drop of water. Right, and it speaks to that moment in time, well before anything evolved that resembles humans or other animals living on the planet. Your journey then goes through into some of the early life forms like sea jellies, and we've got an amazing sea jelly team. We're propagating. It used to be 18. I heard yesterday 22 species of sea jellies are being propagated at Resorts World at the facility now.
And when you walk in, that's really the first thing you see.
That's the first.
All of these different sea jelly enclosures, and they're beautiful the way they're displayed as well.
They are, and there's new ways of displaying these animals, these organisms, and what we've established now is one of the largest chrysal tanks, which are tanks that have a current flow for the sea jellies to move around. One of the largest chrysal tanks in the world now, with stocked with moon jellies. It's an amazing achievement, I think, not just for the building and the structure itself and what it represents, but the team have grown all of those sea jellies on premises over the last couple of years, in preparation for the Oceanarium opening.
Yeah.
Moving from there into the kind of ancient world where there's representations of early sea life animals. And some of them, the names I can't remember, to be honest. But we also have living animals in there that haven't changed for millennia, like paddlefish and some of the elasmobranchs, smaller elasmobranchs, sharks and rays, horseshoe crabs, which have evolved millions of years ago and basically stayed in that form throughout time. Yeah. From there, you move to an area where you can look at amphibians, as animals from the ocean moved onto land. And there's a representation of different amphibians over time. So not only are you moving through this journey, this story, you're also moving through the time span of it. Right?
It's chronicling life and evolution into the sea, out of the sea, and back into the sea.
Exactly, yes. And as you go through the aquarium and you get into some of the facilities and habitats that were there under the SEA aquarium brand. The shark seas with the magnificent silver-tipped sharks, hammerhead sharks, manta rays. They're all still there, representing that life in the ocean and the deep ocean. But what's fascinating to me, and I've worked in this in aquariums all over Asia for several decades, is the then representation to go to talk about the ocean currents, how important they are to life in the ocean, some of the impacts that humanity is having on the ocean these days. The Great Ocean Garbage Patch and those impacts, which are significant, right? Overfishing and all of those impacts to life in the sea. From there, you're able to move right down into the depths of the ocean. There's representation of former living animals that were recovered by rovers from the very deep trenches of the ocean. That have come to us from museums, and we've had folks up from Te Papa Museum in New Zealand. I hope you don't mind me mentioning New Zealand because that's where I'm from. Just thinking of your earlier discussion.
Sure, there you go.
They got hit by bigger tariffs. We won't talk about that.
Yes, well, we've got food security, so we're okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But to represent, to have those species on exhibit in a museum-style display, I think is very important. And it's one of the first times that aquariums have really illustrated that, been able to illustrate it. And from there, going to the very bottom of the oceans, into the trenches, where animals like cetaceans, the large whales, would fall, when they naturally pass away and end up on the bottom of the ocean, and then those remains feed all of that life down there.
Yeah.
To be able to represent that, so from the very initial life of the first drops of water and that evolution, right to the current day where this life happens at those depths, is truly a different and remarkable story that this aquarium has been set up to tell.
Yeah, we're talking with Grant Abel, the Assistant Vice President of Life Sciences at the Singapore Oceanarium. And in fact, when I was there, one of the things that I videoed was the currents
I thought it was
that
great.
show throughout this. And as you mentioned, the garbage patch. I didn't realize there was more than one. There's like 3 or 4 garbage patches, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
in the different regions.
I thought there was only one in the Pacific. So that's why I was like, wait a minute, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The thing that I loved about some of the conservation elements that you discuss in the exhibits is that they're not preachy at all. They're very sort of matter-of-fact, scientific and matter-of-fact. And they do lead you to draw your own conclusions. Do you think this is a good thing or not?
Yeah.
But also at the same time, giving that information of, look, this is the way the thing actually works. This is the way the currents actually come. And you can see if they're going up to, the North Pole and cooling, and then they're coming down and warming and all of that.
That's
right. So I thought it was quite interesting that
I agree.
It does lead you. I mean, of course, you can make your own assumptions and things, but you get the facts, you get the data right there. Just like with the mangrove area that you have.
Yes, that's one of my areas that I actually like the most, and we've just kicked it off. We've got a lot more work to do, but that's the Singapore coast area, and really focusing on what is the life around the islands of Singapore, and do people really know what's in the sea? I mean, it's very hard to see because it's very murky, it's very silty. It's an industrial area around Singapore, right, in the oceans. I mean. But life is persisting there, and there's an incredible array of corals, sponges, anemones, teleos fishes, and invertebrates, which we're able to represent and just remind Singapore of what's in the oceans around you. And just to your point earlier about as a guest interacting with some of the exhibits that we have, and looking at the habitats and the animals and coming up with your own thoughts. In parallel with that, of course, we have education programs. We have the living lab, the back of house laboratory, where a lot of these animals are being reproduced that people can look into. We've got staff there that people can talk to and ask.
Yeah, there are
questions.
windows. You can actually see them doing different things with the animals.
Yeah.
Because you're actively breeding some of these species.
Yes,
I find it extraordinary on site. I just thought that was amazing to witness. And kids were like watching it with their jaws open, watching the jellyfish, and it was just fabulous to see.
Yes. And all that breeding of the jellyfish, the reproduction of corals. We breed the sharks and rays. We are involved now in 2 shark programs that we're breeding for release to the wild as part of a rewilding program.
Brilliant.
Working with NGOs, working with governments in the region, working with other zoos and aquariums around the world that are involved in these programs. These are the new directions of aquariums today. These are the reasons why aquariums are important today and in the future. And from my view, these are some of the reasons why young people today are coming into aquariums with that passion, applying that science, getting the support from the aquariums to make a difference for the future in the ocean.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all about today.
Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, I'm on the board of the Jane Goodall Institute in Singapore.
Yeah, great.
And I was blown away by it. I was very impressed with the conservation messaging for children, for all people. There was one part near the end. My daughter is my witness. She was there yesterday. You can ask the tour guide, Carl. I won't spoil it because I really want visitors to experience it themselves without knowing what's coming. When you did the bit about the melting ice sheets, which I will say, the kids loved that. I said to Carl, the tour guide, no, you should go much further. You should go much further. You should show them how this relates directly to them. You should have it up against an HDB flat. I literally said that, Grant, without seeing what was coming next. And Carl said, walk over here.
Yes, take 3 steps that way.
And I'm not going to spoil it because I really want people to be as blown away as I was. But the conservation messaging was done in a very personal, immediate, Singaporean, visceral way that I think is necessary. I really think it's necessary.
Yes.
And it does finish on a message of hope.
Yes.
I want to make that clear.
Yes.
But it also doesn't shy away from showing what we are doing.
Right.
I just want to get your thought on it. What did you think of that display and that message? I thought it was terrific. The best I've ever seen.
Well, I thought you have articulated that better than I probably can. but yes, it is visceral, right? It's immersive, it's interactive, and it's a stark reminder that melting of the ice glaciers around the world is happening. It's real, no matter what some people may say to try and say otherwise. It is a real thing. Sea level will rise, and the next exhibit, Habitat, will kind of demonstrate what that potentially could look like for some. But to your point, beyond that is what we call the hallway of hope.
Which I liked.
Yes, because hope is everything, I think, for humanity going into the future. And we've got to show the work that's being done today, the work that's being set up for the future to be able to counter the impacts that humanity is having on the oceans and the climate. And there is we are one of many aquariums, many NGOs around the world working together, including Jane Goodall Institute, obviously, to try and change and have a positive impact to mitigate that potential future that we illustrate in the aquarium that you've just spoken to.
Yeah, we're talking with Grant Abel, the Assistant Vice President of Life Sciences at the Singapore Oceanarium. Just opened to the public now down at Resorts World. Grant, in past years there have been challenges with the sea life, specifically the dolphins have had a troubled beginning.
Yes.
Long before you arrived at the aquarium. What's your philosophy around how to care for the sea life that's in the aquarium?
Yep.
How are the dolphins doing, for example?
Yep.
Talk to us a little bit about that, because you have worked at so many different aquariums. I assume that you might have a slightly different approach to it.
Absolutely. The Singapore Oceanarium is an accredited oceanarium with the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, which was originally a North American-based association, which is going global. We're also members of the World Association of Zoos and Aquariums. And the standards with which the accreditations committees will assess the aquarium are very, very focused on animal welfare, whether it's small cetaceans, whether it's fish, whether it's jellyfish. And we are currently going through our 3rd accreditation cycle, meaning for the last 10 years, Resorts World Sentosa and the Oceanarium have been accredited with these organizations. What that does gives us a third-party review of the animal welfare and wellness programs that we have to ensure animal welfare and wellness for not just the cetaceans but everything. The team working with the dolphins has a very complex, actually better than some country hospitals, complex clinical lab, environmental lab. We're doing water samples, air samples. We're monitoring the environment all the time. We monitor the habitat acoustically, visually. The training and work that's done with the dolphins, and they're all very well, by the way, with the dolphins, is all about communication, how we can work with those animals to be able to communicate with them and respond to what they're needing.
Yeah.
Understanding the history, and it's not just Resorts World Sentosa that's had that history. This concerns about the welfare of all animals in aquariums and zoos, right, is global. So Singapore is not on its own in that respect. But the new focus allows us to say, right, let's take a deep dive, scientific dive into this family of dolphins, how they're doing, and what is in the best interest of their welfare going forward. And we're working now with partners in Singapore, academia, government, to establish a working group to really dig into that and help inform the Singapore community once that review has been done.
Yeah, you mentioned they're all doing well. How big is the pod?
Yes.
The pod now of dolphins?
There's over 20 animals.
Yeah,
yes,
okay.
and most of them have been there, well, since they arrived back in, when was that, 2012. So, they're not young.
Yeah.
And there's been a number that have been born there as well. So for those animals that were born there, of course, that's what they know. There's no concept of the ocean.
Yeah. Are you feeling good about their environment and their everything they've got going for them?
Yes, I mean, I work very closely with the team managing the animals and looking at the the veterinary care, the husbandry care. There's some scientific research being done with their acoustics and bioacoustics. There's research being done in physiology, conservation medicine that we've learned from the dolphins that we're able to apply in the wild, and that's very important today because the view of well, not the view, but the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN,
yeah,
right, of which I'm a member, and I'm actually a member of the cetacean specialist group within the IUCN. Recognizes the value of zoos and aquariums and the research, the knowledge that we're able to gain from working with these animals appropriately and others, and being able to apply that knowledge to help animals in the wild. Because what we've seen, if you want to talk about cetaceans for a minute, throughout Southeast Asia and globally, most of the 92 species of cetaceans have all moved towards threatened or endangered status. And that publication came out about 2 years ago. So all of the concerns that people have about the ocean and what's happening out there, we are seeing with these species as well, decline throughout the world, and particularly in Southeast Asia. There's been 6 or 7 species that have moved from either least concern or threatened to endangered because food resources are down, pollution, noise pollution, or you name it, it's all the usual suspects, right? So given that background and given the knowledge that we're gaining now and able to apply to the field, the value of all of these animals at the Singapore Oceanarium has been elevated. Yeah. And again, this underscores the focus of the Singapore Oceanarium, focusing on its education, focusing on scientific research, both ex situ, meaning outside the natural environment, and in situ, meaning inside the natural environment, and action, conservation action. And we've got a passionate group of over 200 staff in the life sciences team, mostly young Singaporeans, who are very, very passionate and active in all of those 3 areas of our pillars of mission.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I want to keep it optimistic. I always do.
Right.
But there's a cynical side of me that will say some visitors will go, enjoy it, and then leave and say, "Who's for sushi for lunch?" Everybody knows about bycatch. Just for our listeners, you catch a piece of sushi. The bycatch can be almost the size of this table in terms of that's marine life that's caught up in the nets. Could be sharks, could be turtles, and so on.
Yeah.
I know one of the biggest threats to sharks is bycatch. In other words, fishermen trying to catch something else but catch sharks as well. What are your thoughts on that? How hopeful are you that the Oceanarium could hopefully change human behaviour for the better?
Yeah, I think that's a first world issue, right? Because there are people in the world without those resources.
Of course,
right?
Of course.
And I think there's a responsibility of wealthy nations, people living in wealthy nations, and Singapore is one of them for sure, to change that paradigm somewhat. I like sushi too, but when I'm out at restaurants or wherever I go or what I buy, I look for sustainable supplies,
practices,
that are part of that supply chain, right, for those products. And everyone living in a first world nation has an opportunity to do that and be a bit more responsible, and that's part of the messaging. We're not there to make people feel guilty. We're there to try and represent truly what's happening in nature, and help people think about their own actions, their own behavior.
Yeah.
You know, you are what you think. And if you go into an aquarium and think, yeah, that one looks delicious, well, you're probably right. You know, but it's there's more.
Skipjack tuna.
Yeah, there you go.
But it wasn't preachy. The messages are there.
Oh, yes.
But they're not preachy.
That's right. Exactly. To your point earlier. And yes, I mean there are many species in that in the Oceanarium that are caught in the wild for human consumption, either targeted or bycatch. Sharks in particular are also caught these days predominantly for their meat, as well as the fins and the value of that, right, in Asian countries. As a community, whether it's a single country or multiple countries, as a community, as a humanity, we have to truly think about all of those things and have open discussions.
Just one quick minor point that is very positive that I want to bring up. I hope you're aware of this. Carl told me this one, Glenn. I keep mentioning Carl. He was a fabulous guide.
We need to get Carl on the show.
Don't you like Carl?
I don't think he met Carl.
I didn't meet Carl, but I'd like to meet him.
Is Carl real?
My wife met Carl and she liked him a lot. That's all I'm saying. But this wonderful filtration system that indirectly you're making Keppel Harbour healthier. You know about this?
Yeah.
Tell our listeners about this.
Well,
this is amazing to me.
So the Singapore Oceanarium processes about 70 million gallons of water, right?
Oh.
Okay, that's a lot of water.
Yeah.
And by processing, I mean we draw in water from Keppel Harbour. That goes through primary filtration systems to remove some of the, the junk, the garbage, and
pollutants or whatever,
all that kind of thing. We have a chemical filtration system and a sterilization system, so that the water that is going into the habitats where the animals are living is clean water, healthy water, and of course it's all monitored before it goes in. That water then also goes back. That cleaned water goes back into Keppel
pumping
Harbour.
clean water back into Keppel Harbour.
I know where I'm going swimming today.
Well, it's interesting because our dive team, fantastic group of people. We've obviously need to be managing all these systems from the wet side, right?
Yeah.
We've got a team of very expert divers doing that. They also manage the intake system, and there's a lot of marine life in that Keppel Harbour all around Resorts World.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. And we've even talked about, can we have coral spawning and just let that coral spawn? All those kinds of ideas.
Yeah.
Why not?
Kind of in the ether under discussion. But
fantastic.
It is. It does make a little bit of difference, at least in that little corner of Sentosa Island where we're situated.
Awesome. Grant, we do have to leave it there, but thank you so much. Grant Abel,
Thank
the
you.
Assistant Vice President of Life Sciences at the Singapore Oceanarium, now open. Take your family down there, have a look, not only at the beautiful aquatic life, but some of the messages around conservation and what we're doing to the world and how we might make it a little bit better, hopefully.
We're trying.
Thanks for your time today, Grant.
Thank you.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.